Welcome to Deep Dive Discussion, where we explore the ideas, strategies, stories, and inspiration that truly matter.
This deep dive is sponsored by SickTech. You can check them out at www.hsicktech.com.
Okay, so today we're diving into the Matchstick Principle by Ysh Estayo. You shared this one, and it's got this great subtitle.
Yeah, burn bright without burning out. That's really the core mission, isn't it? How to make an impact without, well, imploding.
Exactly. And Estayo breaks it down right.
Right.
21 principles, 3 sections. Ignition.
Right. Ignition, that's starting the fire.
Right.
Then sustaining the flame, momentum, energy, growth.
And finally, burning wisely. Time, energy, priorities, all crucial stuff.
Absolutely. It's really a roadmap for moving from just having potential to actually doing something with it, making an impact.
And that's our focus today. We want to pull out those actionable takeaways, things you can actually use, especially around starting things, handling the inevitable friction.
Friction. Yeah, and failure too.
And failure, definitely. And just keeping that energy up without completely draining the tank.
So let's jump in. Principle 1.
Okay, principle 1. A matchstick in your hand means nothing until you strike it. Wow, that hits hard right away.
It does. It's basically saying ideas, potential, dreams. They're kind of useless on their own, inert.
Yeah, all those unwritten books, the business ideas that never get off the ground. Estayo's point is that gap between dreaming and doing is, well, it's action. That's the bridge.
And potential is just static, right? It doesn't do anything by itself.
Which makes you think about how often we wait, you know, for the right moment or for conditions to be perfect.
But the book's analogy is so good, a match doesn't get better sitting in the box. It needs friction. It needs to be struck.
Right. It's not about waiting for the perfect conditions. It's about creating the reaction, action, meeting opportunity, persistence. It's a process.
And what about burnout? That fear often stops people before they even start.
Yeah, but the book flips that idea. It argues the goal isn't really to avoid fire or burning out completely. It's more about learning to manage it. Exactly. Learning to sustain it by being smart about what you choose to ignite in the first place. It even mentions fire being contagious, like one small action can spark more.
That's a really interesting perspective shift. It connects to the idea of the safe zone holding that unlit match.
Isn't safe at all. It's a dead zone.
Right. The real risk, maybe, isn't trying and failing, but never starting, never seeing what could happen. Because, you know, the world remembers execution, not just the idea you had.
So true. And every day you don't act. It's like a match wasted.
A lost opportunity. And we only have so many of those matches, metaphorically speaking.
Definitely finite. And that first strike, that initial action, it often feels the hardest, doesn't it? We get stuck in our heads.
Overthinking, yeah. But once you make that strike, momentum starts to build. The match is just the tool, the start. It's meant to light something bigger.
Okay, so the big takeaway here is really clear. Action is the spark that turns potential into reality. You just got to strike.
Which leads perfectly into principle 2. Friction creates fire.
Friction. The uncomfortable bit.
Exactly. You literally cannot light a match without it. And the analogy holds for us, right? We instinctively avoid resistance, discomfort, struggle.
Yeah, we want things to be smooth.
But Estayo argues that resistance is essential for ignition, for growth. It's that simple.
Right.
No friction, no fire, no struggle, no breakthrough.
It makes sense. Think about learning anything new, starting a project.
Yeah.
That initial phase is always kind of awkward, difficult.
Totally. That first spark is a struggle. The book basically says embrace that awkwardness, expect it.
And it challenges the idea that smooth is always better. Smooth surfaces don't light matches.
Right. So when things feel hard, when you hit obstacles, it might actually mean you're on the right track. Those challenges are part of the process, maybe even preparing you.
That's a good reframe. The resistance isn't just a barrier. It could be a sign.
Yeah, like the resistance test idea in the book. If something feels too easy, maybe it's not that significant. Or maybe anyone could do it.
So the friction can signal value.
But there's a caution here, too. Not all friction is good friction. Estayo distinguishes between controlled friction, like, you know, pushing yourself, learning something hard, tackling a worthy challenge that leads to growth.
Right.
And uncontrolled, chaotic friction, just constant stress, pointless struggle, that leads to burnout.
So it's about choosing your friction.
Yeah. Choose the struggle of creating something meaningful over the sort of quiet regret of inaction. The key insight seems to be embrace challenges. They are essential for igniting growth and revealing value.
Okay, so we strike the match, and we embrace the friction. But what if, you know, it just fizzles out.
Yes. Principle 3, not every strike leads to a flame. Failure happens.
It's not the opposite of success, the book says. It's part of the path to success.
Exactly. Sometimes you get a spark, sometimes a brief flame, sometimes nothing. Each attempt, even a failed one, teaches you something. It's feedback.
I like the bit about the illusion of the first try. We see success and think it was easy, overnight.
Yeah, but behind that is usually a pile of burnt-out matches, failed attempts, drafts nobody saw, lessons learned the hard way. Failure is the process, often. And the matchbox effect idea is brilliant. If you know you have a whole box of matches, lots of chances to try again, the fear of one single match failing goes way down.
Right. It encourages you to just try, learn, adjust. It builds resilience.
Totally. A single failure feels less catastrophic. 1,000 failures. Well, like Estayo says, that's experience.
And a burnout match isn't a sign of total failure. It's proof you actually tried. You took the action.
The only wasted match is the one you never strike. That's the key. Don't wait for a guarantee because it just doesn't exist.
So treat failure like data. Adjust and go again.
That's the professional mindset, according to the book. Pros expect misfires. Amateurs think it should work perfectly the first time.
And so many people quit just before maybe it would have worked.
Right. Success often comes after those repeated attempts, after you push through the initial setbacks. Failure's a step, not a stop sign.
It also connects back to starting small. Big things come from that first small match, that initial effort.
Yeah, don't wait for the big break. Create small sparks. Keep striking. That consistency builds up.
Compounding effect.
Exactly. You only need one match to start a fire, but you got to be willing to strike it, maybe many times. Key takeaway. Failure is not final. It's feedback that fuels future success. Keep striking.
Progress over perfection. Right. Momentum loves imperfection.
That's a great way to put it. Which leads us nicely into Principle 5.
Okay, Principle 5. Fear of wasting a match will keep you in the dark. Ugh. This one's about hesitation. Perfectionism.
Yeah, that paralysis by analysis, waiting for the absolute perfect idea, the perfect time, the perfect plan, because you're afraid you'll waste your effort if it's not perfect right out of the gate.
But the book argues that waiting is actually the bigger waste. The longer you wait, the harder it gets to start.
And like we said, the only truly wasted match is the one you never strike because you were too scared.
It reinforces that perfect moment idea being a myth. There's just magic.
Exactly. Hesitation leads to stagnation. You can't see what's possible unless you try. Holding back costs you momentum, costs you the chance to learn, costs you, well, everything that might have been.
The myth of the perfect burn. I like that phrase. Waiting until you feel totally ready.
Which is usually just procrastination wearing a fancy hat.
Yeah.
Every single success story started with an imperfect first step, sometimes a really clumsy one. Don't let that fear of not getting it right stop you from even starting.
And that fear, that perfectionism, it can seem smart, like you're being strategic.
Right. Careful planning. But unchecked fear just leads to inaction. And inaction guarantees you won't succeed. The real path is motion, testing, adjusting.
So embrace the imperfect sparks.
Yes. Every attempt, win or lose, teaches you something, fuels the next try. The antidote to hesitation isn't more thinking. It's small, consistent, maybe slightly uncomfortable action.
Start before you're ready.
That's the essence of it. The difference between people who do things and people who just think about doing things often just comes down to that willingness to strike the match, despite the fear, despite the uncertainty.
Don't let that fear keep you stuck in the dark, holding your unused match. Key takeaway. Don't let the fear of imperfection or failure prevent you from taking action. Start now, even imperfectly.
Absolutely. These first few principles really lay the groundwork, don't they? Taking action, facing friction, learning from failure, and overcoming that initial fear, it's all about getting that fire started.
It really is a powerful framework. So thanks for diving deep with us into these initial principles from the Matchstick principle.
Yeah, great stuff to think about.
We hope this exploration has maybe sparked some thoughts for you listening about your own projects, your own goals. Remember, the key, as Ysh Estayo puts it so well, is often just striking the match.
Taking that first step, embracing the friction, learning as you go, getting past that fear. That's how you move from potential to impact.
Well said.
Yeah.
This deep dive was sponsored by SickTech. Remember to visit their website at www.8sticktech.com.
And thanks for listening. If you want more, grab Ysh Estayo's latest book on Amazon.
Right. And if you need business consulting or maybe AI solutions, even help with book writing and publishing.
Ysh does that too. You can contact him directly or maybe just leave a comment where you found this.
Great. Okay, until next time, keep diving deep.